Hello, ladies and gents. Last night I went out to see The Bride, which is supposed to be about the bride of Frankenstein. And let me tell you, it's one of the worst and most incoherent films I've seen in a long time. The framing device they used was very obnoxious and did not add to the film. The character switches from her normal American accent to a posh British accent, which just made me cringe every time. It was really annoying. The whole story of Frankenstein doesn't make too much sense. Like, he didn't change in like 100 years. He's still this pathetic, like, groveling fool. And he's apparently never had sex in like 100 years, which doesn't really make much sense. He doesn't change or grow as a character or become more cynical or anything. The lady scientist character was absolutely terrible. She just didn't make any sense, and they wasted a lot of time in the beginning. Oh, should we bring her back to life? Should we do it? It's like, yeah, no shit. The film is about the Bride of Frankenstein. Obviously, they're going to bring her back to life. This is just a waste of my time. The whole story didn't make any sense. There was a random subplot about a revolution. So she goes into a room full of people and starts just randomly shooting in the air and incoherently rambling. There is no revolution, there is no ideology that makes sense out of that. Honestly, they could have done a female empowerment one, but instead they just did like schizophrenia. Like, she's just randomly going into this other voice and shooting, and it's just like nonsense. It doesn't make any sense. The other characters in the film, there's this like pathetic male detective who really just relies on his secretary to do the actual work, and then he hands over the badge power through the film. It's so predictable. It's not a spoiler. Every line of dialogue and plot twist, if you can call them that, in this was so utterly predictable. It just made me angry. And so I spoke to my friend after the film, and he was like, "Yeah, I agree completely." Like, normally I am like the cynical, bitter one, and he's a bit happier and he enjoys things more. But no, I was absolutely vindicated. This is terrible. The people who made this film took a lot of talent and just wasted it. The sets and costumes and the actors were capable, but whoever wrote the script and story just didn't know what they were doing. Uh, the, there's a part of the film, the the female detective who's sort of a secretary on paper finds this bit of paper in the road that Frankenstein drops, and that gives her the clue of how to follow them, how to go on their trail. But when we see the scenes with Frankenstein and the bride, they're actually just randomly going around. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. And it just happens that they're following this trail, which sort of doesn't make sense as well. Um, and then then they tease Niagara Falls, and they go there, and they don't have any dramatic scene like on the falls. Um, with this particular property, you can do things where one of them tries to commit suicide and jumps over the falls, and they just pull them out and revive them again. You can do so much, and they just did nothing with it. Um, the the mad scientist who kills cats and brings them back to life as well. She was treated very sympathetically, far too much, in my estimation, and none of it makes any sense. There's this crime boss who, amongst other things, has people killed and their tongues cut out to put in jars. But when you see the tongues in the jars, it's not even obvious. Like, you can't tell that they're tongues. Like, when you first see them, if you're going to do that, you at least put the tongues separately, right? You don't put them all in a big jar. That's not satisfying. That didn't make sense. That was actually the best scene in the film, where the mob boss is having breakfast with two of his lackeys like that, and say, "Oh, yeah, so you told me you took care of the problem." It's like, doesn't look very taken care of to me. And that was like actually a good scene. The whole relationship between Frank and the bride just doesn't make any sense. And he lies and gives her a fake name, but then she just doesn't care. She just like overlooks it, and they don't even bring it up. But by this point, he's tattooed the fake name onto his chest, and it's like, oh, they just don't even mention it. Doesn't make any sense. Uh, I cannot fathom how they made this. Um, there are other scenes where a normal sized man attacks Frank, who's like a full head taller, and it's just ridiculous. It's like no one would do that. Like they would obviously get completely beaten, um, and they just do it. And it just doesn't make any sense. Actually, the best part of the film is they go to this weird club which doesn't really fit with the theme at all. But someone's wearing a rabbit mask, and like that rabbit mask costume piece was probably the best thing in the film, in my opinion. I'm not just saying that to be sarcastic. Like I looked at that and thought, oh, that's really nice. But honestly, it was just bad. Don't watch this film. It was just terrible. That's all from me, and goodbye.